Their 25-lap feature event, Steve. There's a look at the top 3 rows.
And as we take a look at the top 3 rows, we must tell you, lurking back just 1 row is Jeff Dunmire and Bradley Smales, who battled fiercely last week, with Dunmire spinning out and Smales winning the event.
As the field came out of turn 4, it was the 25 Bates printing machine of Bill Krause from Somerset taking the jump into the lead. And look at that red Spisak welding number 12 machine. Timothy Spisak on board from Johnstown. An impressive start for him, even though he lost that point position.
His second year running in the Pro Stock division, a former 4-cylinder competitor here at Jennerstown Speedway, holding his own and actually beginning to apply a bit of pressure to the back of Krause's bumper.
Jerry Wisner in a white 84, equally impressive, applying that pressure in 3rd place position. Now we jump ahead to lap 5. This is a battle for 2nd place position. You mentioned him at the start of the event, Steve, the VJ's Express 07 at Jeff Dunmire. He begins to work the low side of Spisak's automobile as they wrestle for the bridesmaid spot behind our leader, Bill Krause.
And as competitors in this year's Pro Stock division, Jeff Dunmire is quite an intimidator, having won a record number of races in the Street Stock division last year, right on the bumper of Spisak, just waiting for a mistake to happen. And here it comes. Spisak gets a bit wide, a little high coming out of turn 4, and there goes Dunmire.
Jeff is certainly wasting no time moving up through this field. Now we'll go ahead just a few laps later in this event, and already begins to apply pressure to that Ford Thunderbird 25 of Bill Krause. You know, both of these guys are from Somerset, Pennsylvania. Krause has never really run that strongly here at Jennerstown, but he's looked so impressive this evening, and now he finds his fellow Somerset resident going to the low side as Dunmire muscles down into turn 3, really goes in that turn hard, and pulls over with the top spot.
And as Dunmire makes the pass, he begins to stretch out his lead over Krause, which allows us to move ahead. Lap 17 and a fierce battle for the number 2 spot between the Brads, Smale and Cole. Let's pick up the live call.
41 dives to the low side of the 68 of Cole. Look at this as Smales works and muscles his way to the low side. It's a dogfight going into turn 3 and 4, and Bradley Smales works side by side with Bradley Cole. And my goodness, 25 of Bill Krause says, holy smokes, what's going around me? It's unbelievable as Cole goes to the high side. Smales flew to the back bumper of the 25. Now he's relegated to the outside position and gets by the 25 Bates printing machine of Krause.
Somerset's Bradley Cole moves into 2nd place, broken wrist and all, and he brings last week's feature winner right up to 3rd place, Brad Smales, in the yellow 41. Now we're going to jump in this event to a lap 21 restart after a Ron Delano spin. Something very unusual happens here, Steve, and it'll occur in turn 1. There it is. An oil line breaks on Timothy Spisak's number 12, and he quickly pulls that machine over to a NASCAR official who will extinguish the flames, and Tim will be okay in this incident.
What's so unusual about this is that it occurred under yellow flag conditions rather than green racing conditions. Now, let's jump ahead to our final restart of the race with just 2 laps to go.
Jeff Dunmire bringing the field around in turns 1 and 2. And look at Bradley Smale, clean off the banking, and he dives to the low side of the other Brad in the WVSC 68. Brad Cole takes over the 2nd place spot, sets his sights on Dunmire's automobile as time is running out.
Time is running out. You've got that right. As we see, Dunmire takes the white flag, meaning 1 lap to go, while Smales tries to apply some pressure. But he's running out of time in real estate, and Jeff Dunmire must be saying, boy, turnabout fair play. Last week, I was doing the chasing, and it didn't pan out. Brad Smales not going to be able to have enough time to catch Dunmire as we come out of turn 4 for the final stretch down the front. And it's Jeff Dunmire taking the checkered.
AC Delco Pro Stock winner in his 25-lap circuit affair is Jeff Dunmire, the 27-year-old welder from Somerset, Pennsylvania. And there's a look at the top 5. What we're going to do now is go into our next feature event for the Valvoline Street Stocks. And here we are under green flag conditions, and that's the way they started out in the top 3 rows. But right now it's Dave Wilt leading the event. Irony of irony, Steve, he has the car that Dunmire campaigned in last season. They bought it over the winter.
And as we work on lap 2 of the Street Stock feature, you'll notice we've got a very interesting and tight battle shaping up for the number 2 spot between Alan Angelicchio, Jeff Stewart, and Jack Satosky just behind Wilt.
It is the Steel Pure Stock graduate, Jack Satosky, in the 30, who has that 2nd place spot on the track. Down the front straightaway, Dave Wilt still has command of everything as the field comes down. Steve, back in the pack here, we have John Komarinsky's automobile. The whole front end's torn up from a heat race, but he's still out there campaigning.
And as we head down the back straight, that torrid battle for 2nd place continues between Jeff Stewart and Jack Satosky. And as they head into turns 3 and 4, they have to swing wide around Richie Layton, who's off the pace a bit. Now let's pick up the action in lap 11, still the battle for 2nd place. This time we have some different players involved. Let's pick up the live call.
longevity around here. Now Stewart decides the low line. He says it's time to pull the plug on this bathtub and empty the water. And he moves into second place position. Here comes Brian Audie. Oh my goodness, the floodgate is let loose down the front straightaway. And Jack Satoski says, I don't have a reverse on this car, do I? Holy smokes, he's dropped back 3 positions in a third of a lap. Meanwhile, Audie says it's time to get the whip out and hit the buggy on the rose number 75. He dives to the low side of Stewart's automobile for the bridesmaid spot.
With Brian Audie making it all the way up to the second place position, he wastes no time, and when we go into lap 16, begins to pressure the back bumper of Dave Wilt for the action. Here's the call.
Audie says, hello, I'm playing the salesman. He knocks on the door, but Will right there on the outside. Carl Canute in the way, the left automobile. Audie tries loud. Oh, look out! Oh, my!
And that spin will force Brian Audie to the back of the field. We'll pick up the action on lap 17 on a restart following a Tony Baum spin. And this time challenging for the lead, it's Mike Heminger coming down the front straight, diving underneath, and taking the lead.
The North Star Equipment 72 machine begins to stretch it out over that Haas's Steak and See House number 3 of Dave Wilt. And they work down into turns 3 and 4. Here's Jeff Stewart still hanging on to third place position. And all of a sudden, a multi-car crash here in turns 1 and 2. With Brian Audie trying to get through the field, ends up on the top of the inside retaining wall. Tremendous carnage over there, and it was a major incident that changed the whole complexion of the event. I've never seen a car limp into the pits like J.O. Hay Jr. is trying to do there.
And as his car limps into the pit, what we're going to do is pick up action on the final lap. Mike Heminger way out in the lead, but check this out. Look at this battle for second place between Wilt and Jeff Stewart. Jeff Stewart's been sitting in third position almost all race, and he decides it's finally time to make his move.
And while Stewart's working the high side of Wilt, here comes Mark Berkey just out of the picture in the black 73 machine. He continues to run in to make it a 3-car battle. Look at Stewart. He's still on the outside of Wilt's automobile, fades up high, but here comes the win for Mike Heminger across the checker. And this battle for second, it will be Wilt just ahead of Stewart.
And there we see a smiling Mike Heminger in victory lane for his Valvoline Street stock victory. And rounding out the top 5, Dave Wilt, Jeff Stewart, Mark Berkey, and Jack Satoski.
Oh, that must be the pizza.
What happens when you add 25% more meat toppings to a Pizza Hut Meat Lovers pizza?
Excuse me.
You've taken a rather large piece, Violet.
You may not want to share.
I think I got this first.
Oh,
Hey, wait a minute.
this is my house.
So why fight? Buy one medium Meat Lovers pizza for $8.99 and get any other medium for $4 more.
You can run, but you can't hide. I don't care if it's your house.
Just because Steel builds some of the most dependable chainsaws in the world, a lot of people think that's all we do. But all across the country, from the firehouse to the farmhouse, from ballparks to backyards, more and more homeowners and professionals have discovered that Steel power tools stand out in any field. Visit your local Steel dealer today and find out why. You may be in for a powerful surprise. If you depend on power tools, depend on Steel.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. The surefire performance of AC Delco. We don't just race, we win.
Welcome back to Chase to the Checker. The Steel Pure Stocks were next up on our program with their 15-lap affair. There's a look at the top 3 rows.
And as we take a look at this front 3 rows, guess who's just behind them in 7th through 10th position? Sean Beam, Rick Sheeler, Dave Brunel, and Larry Lee Heminger. Don't count them out at all.
That's a lot of steam to have in the middle of the pack, Steve, as this field comes over to turn 4, looking to be side-by-side at that yellow line, and they're able to do it. The green comes out. We're up to speed and racing. Things get real intense right here at the beginning. Let's go to the live call.
We've got a sandwich job in turns 1. Now look at this going through 1 and 2. The battle for the lead. Courtney Block on the high side of Conrad Fresnel down the back straightaway. Here comes James Freeline. He tries to make room on the low side of Fresnel. He does Fresnel. Oh, look at this. The Baron Trucking 28 to beat. Oh, look at it. Turns 3 and 4. Oh, no. Contact.
Beam, Kogenauer, and a wayward tire, the worst recipients of this incident. Check it out, Mike.
Well, I don't know. That tire was heading to the pits, but we're back out in the racing surface. We'll take this whole restart over again out of turn 4. Conrad Presnell on the point again. We get the green, and here's Courtney Block, the Wheeling, West Virginia driver in a 23. We are under speed in turns 1 and 2, and Block takes over the point position from that outside front row.
And look who's coming up back in the pack. Remember who I told you to look out for at the beginning of the race, Mike? Well, here they come, right on the tail of Conrad Presnell, who incidentally spun out while leading the race last week.
A literal flock of automobiles in turns 3 and 4. Rick Sheeler in that black 74 dirt track in the automobile to try to keep control of it as he works that high side of James Friedline, who lives right here in Jennerstown, Pennsylvania. These cars trying to string on and move up. Now we go to the midpoint in this event. This is the battle for the lead, and oh my goodness, the Marcy's Hair Salon 74 of Rick Sheeler working that low line in Courtney Block, and he's really pressuring, and he's able to take it over, and he brings Mark Griffith right with him into second.
And as they exit turn 2, Dave Brunel also making the pass on Block. Let's move ahead to the last lap, and it's all Rick Sheeler down the back straight, pulling away from the field, going into turns 3 and 4. Sheeler showing his stuff, driving hard, keeping it down around the yellow line, and he heads down the front straight, headed for the checkered flag.
Steel Pure Stock 15-lap feature winner, Rick Sheeler, followed by close running Dave Brunel, and there's a happy Rick in victory lane celebrating this moment.
Let's take a look at our top 5 finishers in the Pure Stock division. Sheeler first, followed by Dave Brunel, Mark Griffith, James Friedline, and Larry Lee Heminger.
We're going to move on to our final event of this week's program, and that is the second 35-lap leg for the John Auto Parts Pure Later late models.
And as the cars make their parade lap down the back stretch, here is a look at the front 3 rows. And we must tell you what we've done is we've taken the finish order from our first race, take the top 10 and invert them. So that means Clayt Husted, Tom Erickson, Bob Sibila, and Charlie Cragen, last race's winner, are in position 7 through 10, lurking back there, just waiting for their chance.
And that certainly puts the pressure on the first row of Chuck Kessler and 20-year-old Ken Imler in that maroon Haas's Steak and Seahawks 87 Ford Thunderbird bodied machine as the cars come up to speed and get a green flag, and we're clean here into turns 1 and 2. Now, there's something that happens very unusual down the back straight. You can only get a quick glimpse at it, and we're going to pay attention to it because it brings out the yellow. Look at the red car, Tom Erickson, the hood right there comes off the automobile. The cars continue green flag racing, but we get the yellow, and the field slows down on the front straight.
Got to be very disconcerting for drivers in the back rows to be able to drive through all that flying fiberglass and not run into the back of another car. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring them up to speed again and restart the race. Chuck Kessler and Kenny Imler. A good clean start, both hard driving side by side, fender to fender down the front straight through turns 1 and 2. And look at this, down the back straight still, bumper to bumper, door handle to door handle. What a start.
And while they continue their charge for the point position, Bobby Henry in the Hodge transmission, yellow and orange 77, makes it into the 3rd spot, followed by Barry Otte.
And note the white number 57 back running in the 5th position. That's Vince Randizzi, who got squirrely early on, and he dropped 3 positions very quickly.
Wasting no time, Ken Imler continues holding on to that outside. He'll get a half a car length ahead, and now he finally breaks through, working that outside groove to take over the point position.
And Mike, we're going to jump ahead 1 lap into the event, and it's still a battle up early in the pack, but look who's up from the 5th row. It's Chargin' Charlie Cragen, winner of the last feature, and he's making his move.
He's socked in there with all kinds of automobiles, including Tim Ice and a blue 65. They're trying to work the low side. This is all a battle for second, by the way, out of turn 4. It continues to be the 91 of Chuck Kessler holding on to second, but Cragen, incredibly, from 10th place position in such short notice, has come up to the back bumper of the 77 of Bobby Henry.
Mike, let's go to the live call.
The charging one. He goes to the outside of the Hodge transmission, 77 of Bobby Henry. And Charlie Cragen is on the move. Now he closes up to the back bumper of Chuck Kessler's automobile. He's boxed to the outside. Can he make that move to the low line? Meanwhile, Bobby Henry tries the low side. Here comes Charlie Cragen now. He moves up to the 3rd place position, sets his sights to the low side of Ken Imler. Oh, Bobby Henry off the pace in the 77. Cragen moves up to second. Here comes the Iceman right through the low side.
Mike, in the previous night's racing at Motordrome Speedway, Charlie Cragen made a similar move, charging hard up through the field to make his bid for the lead in a neck-and-neck battle with Rick Miller, only to lose that race at the last moment when his tires started to go and he lost control of the car. I wonder if that'll happen tonight.
Well, his car is really set up well right now, and the Doc Scanlon-owned 42 has a groove that's just working perfect for that automobile. Behind him is the Iceman from Doylestown, Ohio, Tim Ice, in that blue Camaro automobile.
Mike, we'll move ahead now to lap 13 of this event, and it's really quite a battle for the lead. Charlie Cragen coming up tight on the bumper of Ken Imler Jr. out of East Streatham, Pennsylvania. And as they come down the front straight, the action gets intense. Let's go to the live call.
Way down into turns 1 and 2. A great battle for the lead now. Cragen sets up to the low side on Imler. They're side by side, wheel to wheel. A drag race down the back straightaway. Imler hanging on for everything it's worth on the outside. Cragen muscling through. Look at Imler, not to be denied. Still hanging on down the front straight. Cragen right there, and Cragen breaks through for the lead.
And with a move like that, it's no wonder why we call Charlie Cragen the charging one. Now we're going to jump ahead in this event to a lap 16 restart. Cragen brings the field down the front straight, and Tim Ice begins to make a serious bid as they work into turns 1 and 2, almost into the back bumper of Cragen's automobile. Ice, the crafty veteran, tries a low line, but Cragen's up for the task.
And up to the task he should be, because Tim Ice is a veteran, not only here at Jennerstown Speedway, but also at Motordrome Speedway and a number of Ohio short tracks. So he knows what he's doing if he can get the car to handle the way he wants it to. And this year, Tim's been complaining that he's been having some handling problems, especially late in the events.
Ice will have to contend with another situation, though, Steve. We move late in this event, and it's Bob Sybil in his back bumper. Here's the call.
Bob Sybil still looking for racing room on Tim Ice. He goes to the high side on Ice early in turn 2, but Ice denies him the opportunity. It's a battle between the Buckeyes. Look at the move Sybil just pulled. Unbelievable. Bob Sybil pulls off a move on Ice and takes over second.
And what a move. With 20 years racing experience on the pavement, Bob Sybil pulling a move on veteran Tim Ice. But it's all for naught as far as the lead goes, because we're moving to the last lap, and here comes Charlie Cragen, the charging one down the front straight to take the checkered flag in his second victory of the night.
Doc Scanlon, the owner, the Biter brothers, crewing the car, Casa Fire Equipment, Twin County Chevrolet team of Charlie Cragen, winning his second event of the evening.
Stay tuned. We'll be back after this.
Just because steel builds some of the most dependable chainsaws in the world, a lot of people think that's all we do. But all across the country, from the firehouse to the farmhouse, from ballparks to backyards, more and more homeowners and professionals have discovered that steel power tools stand out in any field. Visit your local steel dealer today and find out why. You may be in for a powerful surprise. If you depend on power tools, depend on steel.
That must be the pizza.
What happens when you add 25% more meat toppings to a Pizza Hut Meat Lovers pizza?
Excuse me.
You've taken a rather large piece, Violet.
You may not want to share.
I got this first.
Oh,
Hey, wait a minute.
this is my house.
So why fight? Buy one medium Meat Lovers pizza for $8.99 and get any other medium for $4 more.
You can run, but you can't hide. I don't care if it's your house.
There's lots of great reasons to get your auto parts at Giant Auto Parts. Huge selection, friendly, knowledgeable service,
Hi, may I help you?
and everyday low prices. But here's the best part. Giant has the best parts. Giant carries a full line of quality Purolator oil and air filters for almost any car, foreign or domestic, at great everyday low prices. So get to the best part at Giant Auto Parts. There's a Giant Auto Parts near you. That concludes racing for this week. If you'd like to experience the excitement of the NASCAR Winston Racing Series in person, we invite you to join us every Saturday evening when we open the gates at 4 and begin all the racing festivities at 7 p.m. Don't forget that Giant Auto Parts and Purolator now have our $2 reserve seat discount coupons available at all Western Pennsylvania and Maryland Giant Auto Parts store locations. AC Delco also has $2 reserve seat discount coupons at participating Western Pennsylvania Auto Parts stores where you find quality AC Delco parts. Valvoline has discount coupons at participating Valvoline engine oil changes, Napa Auto Parts stores, and participating Western Pennsylvania Auto Parts stores where you find Valvoline motor oil. Our friends at Steel have our discount coupons as well at participating Keystone Steel dealers, and you'll also find them at participating Western Pennsylvania Pizza Hut locations. From all of us at Jennerstown Speedway, this is Mike Nelson along with Steve Richard, wishing you a great week, and we'll see you at the races.